One of the big debates that I have on the website and the interviews is the best players to ever come through East Chicago, period. You being a guy that played at Roosevelt, I want to get your opinion on your starting five, East Chicago Roosevelt, and also your opinion on your starting five from East Chicago Central. So let's kind of start with Roosevelt. Give me your point guard.
Whew, man, this is real tough. This is really tough. You know what? I really point guard. The point guards I really saw more and spent more time with, saw more up close. Uh, One of the toughest. I wouldn't say he was the best. Man, tough point guards. No, I ain't never been a big fan of point guards. You know what? Point guards. One of the best out of Roosevelt. Man, you put me in a tough spot. Now, if you want to go through players, I can name players. But
Give me one point guard who you pay to go see during that time. Who you wanted to watch or who you wanted to play with. One point guard.
Chicago Roosevelt. During my era, or 10 years before me, that's the only place I could really look back on and see is Ashley Dunlap was a go-getter.
Ashley Dunlap?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of the toughest point guard, two guard, point guard.
Okay.
Yep.
Shooting guard.
Top five?
No, top number one.
Number one.
Who's your favorite shooting guard? We got Tony Harris.
Tony Harris by far was the best two guard by far. I mean, you have to say it. And he didn't have a shooting jumper. He was a hell of a scorer though.
Yeah.
The guy was an exceptional athlete. Great athlete, man. Best athlete I've ever seen in my life.
Small forward.
Small forward. At that time, small forward. I don't know if you would call during my time best small forward would probably be that I seen during my time was probably let's see, who's the best spot for you? I don't know, man. You got me up. You got me up.
Arthur Pollard.
Arthur Pollard was probably one of the toughest.
Ike Washington.
Two guard. Ike was tough, but Arthur was probably one of them during this time.
Okay, so as of right now, we got Ashley Dunlap, Tony Harris, Arthur Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
Power forward.
Oh, by far, Anthony Jones.
Okay. Center.
It was Jim Bradley. Jim Bradley by far was the beast. I always say that. A lot of kids, a lot of people don't even know who he is, but by far, to me, he was the best player that came out of Chicago.
Okay. But in your era, who's the best center?
In my era, through the 80s, wow. During my time, I think Chucks played center, or Jerome Battle, by far. Chucks played power forward. Jerome Battle in the 80s.
Now, what did Billy Ray Sims fill in at?
Well, you know what? I contribute. I just tell you that.
He was a great player, man. He was
Yeah,
a great player.
I was solid. We had.
Are you top 10, top 15?
In the 80s? Oh yeah, I had to be top five. Yeah, during that time, top five centers in through 86 and 1980. Oh yeah, through that area. Yeah.
Okay.
In East Chicago. We didn't really have any premier centers back then. At 6'5", 6'6",
Okay.
I'll say I was one of the top players. Based on what we had a lot of talent. So with all that having that talent, it wasn't just my job was just to rebound and block shots and score the layups when Tony missed.
So we got Ashley Dunlap, point guard.
Ashley Dunlap,
Tony Harris,
Arthur Pollard,
Jerome Battle.
And
And you said Jokes. That's a good 5.
Yeah.
Might as well go to East Chicago Central. Point guard.
I would honestly say the best point guard I've seen at Central, the smartest point guard, and I'll probably get killed for this.
Okay.
I think the smartest point guard at that time was Delmar Johnson.
Oh yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, great for a general.
Yeah.
Great for a general. Okay.
2 guard by far would be Etwan. Etwan was exceptional ball.
So he's better than Charles Ricks,
Oh, yeah. Well,
Corey Stokes,
yeah, those guys.
Marcus Jefferson.
Again, those guys were good, but I one time I was talking to John Boyd, and John Boyd said he'd never seen a kid dominate a game like Etwan. Etwan was a rare talent that came through Chicago. So yeah, Etwan was better than those guys. Those guys were far better.
Okay. Small forward.
Small forward would be at right now. Honestly, Ike probably. You got to get Ike. Ike was tough. Ike was tough to come out of Central. Ike was one of the. And I still would put Ike as far as one of Central top 10 athletes of all time. Top 10. Because Ike was solid. Ike averaged about 24 as a senior.
Yeah.
He was solid. Ike was very good as a senior.
Okay.
Carlton Baker would be my power forward.
Okay.
Yeah, Carlton Baker would be my, without any question. He would be my power forward. Yeah. Center, I would, at that time, I think Ricky was good too. Ricky was solid. To say he was the best big man, you got you want to throw Angel Garcia in there, but Angel was, I think he played out of position. I don't think he wanted to play center, so you couldn't give him that credit.
How about Marlon Anderson?
That's my cousin. But
Dante Williams?
Those guys were solid, but they wasn't. They weren't as good as a Ricky Wright. Strong finisher, rebound. What I consider those guys as being, those guys were role players. Role players. Their role was to score when needed, or get rebounds, block shots. I still say Udi Baker, Ricky Wright, Ike Washington, Delmar Johnson, and Etwan.
Okay. Who's the best basketball player? You said at Roosevelt is Jim Bradley, of course. But who's the best basketball player in East Chicago Central history?
The best basketball player that came out of Central?
Yeah, because like what I always get is that Etwan is the most accomplished, and they say that Udi, of course, is the best because I guess he's exciting. But does that fit with you? Do you like most accomplished, or do you like the exciting who the Philistines?
It depends on what you asking. If you're asking for a player, a successful player that's well polished, you would definitely say Etwan, the best player came out. He went to the biggest program, and he's still contributing right now on the next level. Again, I still think, to me, the best player that came out of East Chicago that, per his position, exciting, and people saw the potential in him. You have to hands down give it to Udi Baker. He was a kid that could dominate a game on both ends of the court, defensively and offensively. I think with all the other players they compare him to, those players couldn't dominate on defense. He was an exceptional shot blocker, rebounder, scorer, you name it. And a lot of players, if you compare him to that, you can't compare him to a guy that can dominate both ends of the court. I still say that today. He's probably the best player I've seen that came out of East Chicago and during the time since I've been around.